This episode of Scare You to Sleep is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can be a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help you find options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states. Today's episode is sponsored by The Carpenter's Son, in theaters Friday, November 14th, from Magnolia Pictures. In Roman-era Egypt, Joseph, Mary, and their teenage son Jesus live under constant threat. When a mysterious child lures him toward temptation, Jesus faces nightmarish visions and his first battle with demonic forces. Writer and director Lotfi Nathan, drawing from his Coptic Christian background, delivers a meticulously crafted, genre-bending supernatural thriller packed with unshakable images of the divine and demonic at war. Starring Nicolas Cage, FKA Twigs, and Noah Jupe. Don't miss The Carpenter's Son, in theaters this Friday, November 14th. Already feeling the chill this time of year? It's time to spice up your holidays with Torchbearer sauces. They've been featured on 8 seasons of Hot Ones with 7 of their sauces. Torchbearer Sauces is a small, family and friend-owned and operated business that's been handcrafting gourmet sauces and condiments in the heart of Central PA for 20 years. They prioritize flavor over heat, but don't worry, they can also bring the spice. With all natural and preservative-free ingredients. They even do sauce collabs with musicians and other artisans, including Shinedown, Necrogoblicon, and Danny Wood. Don't miss their early access and Black Friday sales from November 19th to December 2nd. Get the best prices of the year and stock up on hot sauce gifts like their advent calendar, sampler packs, bundles, and more. That's Torchbearer Sauces, accidentally healthy, intentionally delicious. Visit torchbearersauces.com. And welcome to Scare You to Sleep. I'm your host, Shelby Novak, and I'm here to read you a bedtime story. This week, we have a story from a long-time, very dear listener of the show who once introduced me to the best chocolate I've ever had in my life, and I'm considering a move to Finland just to have better access to it. Thank you to Anna Uusitalo for your story. You will be mine. Sydney was lying in her bed, reading a Riley Sager book, when she saw her phone light up, notifying her for a new message. She marked the page she was reading and grabbed her phone. "Can't wait to see you, my love," the text said. The number was blocked. This was a third message from this anonymous person she had gotten in the last 2 weeks. The first 2 messages were kind of the same. "You are so beautiful. Looking forward to seeing you." And "Valentine's Day is coming up. Will you be my Valentine?" After the first one, she had replied and asked, "Who is this?" but only got a heart emoji back. After that, she had ignored the other messages without responding. She didn't know if she was intrigued or annoyed with this mystery person. It could just be a joke. Someone messing with her, right? Maybe they had gotten her number from one of her friends. Nowadays, it wasn't hard to find someone's contact info because everything was online. She kind of missed the 90s when cell phones and internet didn't exist. She had briefly thought maybe it was her ex, Sarah. She had broken things off with her a few months ago. But why would she use a blocked number and not her own? She had really liked Sarah, and the truth is, she still thought about her often. But because she had commitment issues and she was a coward, she had ended things before it would get too serious with her. They had dated about 4 months, and one morning, when they were lying in Sydney's bed, facing each other under the covers, and Sarah had gently stroked her hair and face and asked her about her dreams and hopes in life, she had realized that this was getting serious, and she was really falling for her, and that scared her more than anything ever before. Sarah had looked so beautiful that morning, with her long black hair and dark brown eyes and her cute little nose. Her laugh was one of Sydney's favorite sounds in the whole world. And she also remembered how hurt Sarah had looked when she had explained to her that she needed some space. She had tears in her eyes. But she had said she understood and would give Sydney the space and time she needed. They hadn't spoken after that. And every time Sydney looked at her Instagram, she was scared to see that she had moved on and started dating someone new and forgot about her. But that was her own fault. And she could only blame herself for that. In her heart, she was pretty sure that Sarah wasn't behind these weird messages. Still, Sydney couldn't think of anyone else who would do this, even though this didn't seem like something Sarah would do. She put her phone down without responding and started to get ready for work. She worked at this cute little bookstore not far from her apartment. She put her blonde shoulder-length hair in a ponytail and changed into jeans and a flannel shirt and put on her worn-out black sneakers. When she arrived at work, she was greeted by her colleague Becky. She was new, quiet, but seemed nice. She had red hair and glasses, and she always seemed a little bit nervous. There weren't any other workers, but the owner, sweet older lady named Cynthia, was often in the store. She really loved her books and the store, and had lost her husband a few years ago. Now she was putting together a Valentine's Day section near the door, with all the cheesy romance books and a little selection of cards with hearts and corny phrases. She said hello to Sydney with a warm smile and asked if she could unpack some new books that were still on the boxes behind the counter. It was a quiet shift. She mostly organized the new books and cleaned a little. When customers came in, Becky was quickly first to go and ask them if they needed any help. She probably wanted to make a good impression, being so new to the job. After a while, Becky came to say that her shift was ending and asked if it was okay for her to leave. She reminded Sydney of a puppy dog. She told her to go home. It was a quiet night, and she would lock up after a few more hours. Becky stood there looking unsure, playing with her hair, but then smiled and nodded, and then left. A few days went by without any new messages. Last night, Sydney had gone out to have a few drinks with her two friends, and she had told them about the messages. They both had laughed and teased her that she had a secret admirer. Maybe it's someone who came to the store and fell in love with you the second they saw you. They didn't seem to think it was anything to worry about. And maybe they were right. Messages were harmless. But then came the flowers. The next day, after seeing her friends, she had a day off from work and had decided to go for a run. She loved running in the nearby trails in the woods where she could get her mind off of things and just feel free. She had run a little over an hour and was walking home to calm her breath and cool off, and had just entered the apartment building when she saw something on her doorstep. It was a big bucket of red and black roses. There was also a Valentine's Day card with 2 hearts in front that said, "Be my Valentine." But above the text was 2 words written by hand. "You will." Okay, now this is not annoying anymore, but officially scary and fucking creepy. "You will be my Valentine?" She felt sick. The person who had sent the messages knew where she lived. No way this was Sarah. She would never want to scare her and wasn't some psycho. Even though they hadn't known each other for very long, but still, she was a sweet and kind soul. She picked up the flowers and took them inside after looking around frantically to see if anyone was nearby. But she didn't see anybody. She lived on the first floor, and the door to the building wasn't locked, so anyone could get in. The message in the card gave her chills when she read it again. This wasn't cute or seemed like a joke anymore. It seemed like a threat. Someone wanted her to be scared. Should she call the police? And say what? She had a few texts and flowers. That was hardly worth their time and resources. She texted Sarah. "Hi, did you send me messages from a different number and brought flowers to my doorstep?" No response. She didn't even read the message. Red and black roses. Love and death. She put them in the dumpster but saved the card just in case. After the flowers, she had a hard time sleeping. She had safety lock on her door and pepper spray that she kept with her on her runs. Now she would always keep it with her, just in case. The next day she had another message. "Did you like my flowers, my love?" At first she thought of not answering, but then felt herself getting angry and typed, "Who is this? Please stop. This is not funny anymore. Leave me alone. I'm not interested." She saw 3 dots under her message. Mystery person was typing back. "You will see. We are meant to be. Heart emoji." Jesus Christ. This person was fucking crazy. Maybe she should change her number. But they know where she lives, so there's that. She would not change her whole life for some stalker. Valentine's Day was 1 week away. The bookstore was busier than normal. People bought books for their loved ones with cheesy cards. Sydney wasn't big on all that romance fuss, but it made her think of Sarah. Would she go on a date with someone on Valentine's? Why would she wait for Sydney after she had broken things off? She deserved someone who loved her and treated her right. Sydney felt a lump in her throat. She would probably spend the day of love alone, feeling sorry for herself and watching some super scary movie. Both her close friends dated. Another one was in a serious relationship, and the other friend had dated her boyfriend for a few months. They would invite her to join them, of course. But she didn't want to be a 3rd or 5th wheel. It would be pathetic. After her night shift, she walked home. She had the pepper spray in her pocket. Even though she didn't walk any dark alleys or quiet streets to get home. When she got home, it started to rain. She didn't feel like running in the rain when it was dark and gloomy. And instead, she took a long, warm shower. When she was washing her hair, she thought she heard something. A thump? She turned the water off and listened, her heart racing. Nothing. She put on a towel and peeked her head out of the bathroom. Nothing. Maybe it was just the rain or some tree branches hitting the window because of the blowing wind. She quickly washed the shampoo off and was wondering if she should stay with her parents for a few days just to feel a little safer. But then they would worry about her, and maybe for nothing. She also had a sister, 4 years younger than her, living in the same town. Her hometown, where she had grown up. But she lived happily together with her boyfriend in their little apartment, so she didn't feel comfortable to stay there either. Also, she wasn't some weak damsel in distress. She was a grown-ass woman and could protect herself from this person who didn't even have the guts to show themselves, but instead hid behind a blocked number. Fuck that. She would figure this out herself, and if needed, she would call the police. That night, she was lying in bed reading. Was it wise to read thrillers in this situation? She wasn't sure. But she wasn't going to read any romance novels either. Then she heard a quiet thud. She sat up in her bed. Her heart started to race again. Slowly, she walked by the door and looked at the peephole. The hallway was dark. She couldn't see anything. But the light was motion activated, so there shouldn't be anyone moving at least. She felt shivers in her spine. She walked across her living room in the dark by the window and peeked behind the curtains. At first, she didn't see anything outside. It was dark and raining and the wind was blowing. But then, she thought she saw something moving in the yard near the trees. She squinted her eyes, trying to see better, when she saw it again. There was someone standing there, in dark clothes and a hood over their head. It looked like they were looking straight at Sydney's window. She pulled back and was so glad she didn't have any lights on. There was no way anyone could see her. She felt her heartbeat pulsing in her ears. She thought about calling the police again, but what would she say? It wasn't exactly a crime, standing outside. Still, she was almost certain that the figure in the yard was the same person who had sent the messages and the flowers. She gathered her courage and peeked again from the window. But the figure was gone. This episode of Scare You to Sleep is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can be a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help you find options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Struggling to see up close? Make it visible with Viz. Viz is a once-daily prescription eye drop to treat blurry near vision for up to 10 hours. The most common side effects that may be experienced while using Viz include eye irritation, temporary dim or dark vision, headaches, and eye redness. Talk to an eye doctor to learn if Viz is right for you. Learn more at Viz.com.
Hey, what's up, subscribers? Welcome back to the channel. So which variety of Dunkin' at-home coffee is your fave? Original blend, French vanilla, or hazelnut? Drop a comment.
What are you?
This is what I do when I'm home alone.
Drink Dunkin' Original Blend or pretend you're an influencer?
Both. Want a cup? Hey, let's do a taste test for the audience.
Okay, how's this? The rich, smooth taste of Dunkin' at home is unmatched.
Nice. You're a natural.
The home with Dunkin' is where you want to be.
The rest of the night, she was lying in bed, awake, listening to every sound. When she drifted to sleep, she was jolted awake by every little creak. In the morning, she felt so tired, as if she hadn't slept at all. She had a later shift at work that day, and she saw Cynthia looking at her with a concerned look in her eyes. "Are you okay, dear? Did you stay up late? You look tired." "I'm fine. Little tired. The wind kept me awake," she responded. "Nothing that coffee can't fix." She smiled to the old woman. After yesterday, she was looking at every customer, thinking they could be her stalker, but none of them seemed like the person who was behind the messages. Crazy. And they thought they loved her. The next 3 days leading up to Valentine's Day, Sydney was a nervous wreck. She didn't sleep, hardly ate, and was on edge all the time. She didn't get any messages or flowers, but she felt like something was going to happen. She still did her shifts at the bookstore. No use to sit at home being even more nervous. Then came the day. "You want to leave early? You probably have a date with someone special. I can cover the rest of your shift if you want," Becky said to her when it was about 6 p.m. She looked at Sydney behind those glasses and tilted her head like a puppy dog. "That's really kind of you, but no, I don't have any plans. So I'll do my shift, but thank you for asking," she replied. "Okay, then let me at least get you a cup of coffee." Becky smiled and disappeared into the break room. After a few minutes, she was back with a big cup of steaming hot coffee. Sydney thanked her, took the cup, and went behind the counter, where there were a few customers waiting. About half an hour later, the store was empty except Sydney and Becky. Cynthia wasn't in that day. Sydney started to feel super tired, even after that big cup of coffee. She tried to stand up behind the counter, but had to sit back down because she felt all of a sudden dizzy. The hell, was she sick or something? She tried to call for Becky, but didn't get the words out. Last thing she saw before totally blacking out was Becky's worried face above her. And then, nothing. First thing she registered was the humming and plates or something clinking. She slowly opened her eyes, but had a hard time concentrating. Her vision was a bit blurry. Next thing she noticed was that she could not move. Her hands and feet were tied on a chair where she was sitting. The space she was in seemed familiar, but it took a while for her to see that she, or they, were in the bookstore's basement. There were boxes of books and other stuff like decorations for Halloween or Christmas. She was too groggy to be scared or feel panic just yet. So she tried to focus her eyes and see who the person in the basement was with her, still humming and doing something at the back of the basement. She tried to yank her hands free, but the rope was tight. Her mouth was so dry that she could hardly get the words out, and her voice was raspy like a chain smoker. "What is this? Who are you?" She tried to think. She had consumed so much true crime and thriller books that even with a foggy brain, she realized that this was a serious situation and she was, in fact, in danger. The other person, woman, stopped humming and turned around holding a tray. "Oh, good! You're awake, my love," she replied with a happy voice and started to walk towards Sydney. Realization hit her like a hammer. It was Becky. Sweet, shy, quiet Becky. "We're going to have the best Valentine's Day together. You have no idea how long I've waited for this moment," she said, looking at Sydney with the biggest smile on her face. "When I got the job at the bookstore, I couldn't believe my luck. I know you don't remember me from before, and I don't blame you. It was years and years ago. I went to high school with your sister Julie, and I always had the biggest crush on you. Becky blushed and giggled. And when you broke things off with what's-her-name, she said in a dismissing tone, I knew that it was finally my time. Sydney looked at her and tried not to look as astonished as she was. Did you send me the messages and the flowers? It was you all along? She wanted to scream and shout at Becky's stupid smiling face and demand that she would let her out right now. But she also knew that she had to be insane and potentially dangerous. She had already drugged her with something, sleeping pills maybe, and tied her to a chair in the basement. And her suspicions were verified when she saw what was on the tray Becky was holding in her hands. There were cupcakes with pretty pink frosting and little red heart-shaped decorations on top. A bottle of sparkling wine with 2 paper cups. And a big, sharp knife. Yes, of course it was me, my love, Becky said, and set the tray at the table in front of Sydney. I hope you like them and the suspense that you had to feel to know someone was thinking of you at all times, she said, smiling and correcting her glasses. I have never felt love like this, and I think you started to like me too. When I came and worked with you and we got to spend time together, you were always so nice to me, and you did dump that girl. So there is that. Sydney tried to think of what to say. They had talked a little at work, and yes, of course she'd been nice to her, but she never said or did anything that would suggest she was interested in Becky. Never. She was crazy, and she had a knife, so she had to move forward very carefully. That looks really good. Why don't you come and sit with me, Becky? She said, and hoped to God her voice didn't give her away. And maybe you could untie my hands if those cupcakes are for us. It wouldn't be very romantic if you had to feed me like a baby. Sydney forced a fake smile on her face. Becky was looking unsure and rocked on her heels, looking at Sydney. Then she started to walk closer, and Sydney fought the urge to pull back away from her. Becky started to untie her right hand. She could smell her overly sweet vanilla perfume. You are right. It wouldn't be very romantic, but be nice. I will untie your other hand and legs later after I'm sure I can trust you, she said, and sat down next to Sydney. My throat feels so dry. Is there any way you could get me a glass of water? Sydney asked, and thought hard about her next move. Maybe she would have time to untie her other hand and legs, or she could grab the knife. Becky smiled and stood up and started walking towards a little corner in the basement that had a sink. Then she quickly turned around and came back, took the knife and looked at Sydney, squinting her eyes and smiling knowingly. Just a minute, my love. When Becky's back was turned, Sydney started to untie her other hand with the one that was free. She had time to loosen the rope a little before Becky was back. She gave her the glass of water, and Sydney took a sip. Thank you, she said. Did you make these cupcakes? They look so good. Really, she wanted to know if there were drugs or poison in them. No, silly. I got them at a bakery. That was a relief. So, I was thinking, Becky continued, maybe we could start looking for a place together? Some cute little house with a fence, maybe? I've always wanted one. I know, I'm getting ahead
ahead of myself. It's only our first date, but I'm just so excited, and you have no idea how long I've waited for this.
Sydney tried to be patient, but she couldn't take this much longer. Becky was paranoid and crazy, and she needed to get away as soon as possible. No one would look for her or miss her tonight, not until tomorrow when Cynthia would wonder why she didn't come to her shift. She had searched her pockets, but Becky had taken her phone and the pepper spray. She made a quick plan in her mind. That could work or go horribly wrong. But she had to do something. Becky was putting the cupcakes in little plates and pouring the wine in plastic cups. She was humming again with a smile on her face. When she came next to Sydney and leaned over to put the plate in front of her, she suddenly grabbed Becky's hair in the back of her head and smashed her face against the table as hard as she could. Then she started to rock the chair she was in and landed on her side on the floor, legs still tied to the chair, but now she could wiggle the ropes under the chair legs. She was frantic, and the adrenaline kicked in, and she managed to get herself free before she saw Becky standing above her. Blood was dripping from her face. Her glasses were broken, and she had rage in her eyes, and the big, sharp knife in her hands.
Why did you do that?
She yelled in frustration.
I only wanted us to love each other and be together, and you did that? Why?
Sydney was now on the ground, her back against the floor, and Becky sat on top of her, holding the knife in both hands.
Well,
she said, and fixed her broken glasses and wiped some blood off her face.
if you don't want to be with me in life, then we will be together in death.
She tilted her head and locked her gaze in Sydney's panicked eyes.
No, please, I'm sorry I did that. It must be the sleeping pills. I didn't mean to hurt you. We can still be together. I promise.
Sydney heard the desperation in her own voice and already knew Becky wouldn't buy that. She didn't want to die. Not like this. But at least she had tried to escape and put up a fight. Then, 3 things happened simultaneously. Becky lifted both her hands over her head, getting ready to slam the knife in Sydney's chest. Sydney closed her eyes, and then there was this loud bang, and after, there was a second. Sydney didn't hear anything but ringing in her ears. She opened her eyes and saw Becky, looking confused, dropping the knife, and then looked at her chest, where her t-shirt started to change color from white to red. Then, she collapsed on the floor next to Sydney. It took her a second to realize what just happened, and when she looked at the basement stairs, she saw Cynthia standing there, with a small handgun in her small, wrinkly but surprisingly steady hand.
I knew there was something wrong with that girl,
she said angrily.
Are you okay, dear?
Sydney wiped some of the blood off her face and sat up. A few months after the events, Sydney was at home. That night, the ambulance had taken Becky to the hospital, and after many talks with the police, they had promised that she would be locked up as soon as she was able to leave the hospital. Cynthia had saved her life that night, and the police had no reason not to believe them. They had found something in Becky's past. They didn't tell what exactly, but something that made them believe these events more easily. Sydney had reached out to Sarah, and they had gone for a coffee. They weren't together, but at the moment, Sydney was happy just to be friends. Maybe more than that later, if Sarah would still want that. But for now, Sydney had taken the time to heal. She didn't want to think of herself as a victim, but a survivor.
a final girl. But the biggest hero was, of course, Cynthia, bless her heart. She had surveillance cameras at the store, and that's why she had seen that something fishy was going on and had come to check on things. With a gun. Sydney had gone back to work. She felt safe knowing Becky wouldn't be free. She opened the window and smelled the fresh summer air. Her phone chimed, and she grabbed her phone from the night table. As she clicked the message open, her blood ran cold. There were 6 words from a blocked number.
Did you miss me, my love?
And then she smelled it. Overly sweet vanilla perfume. Thanks for listening. Thank you to Anna Uusitalo once again for this story and for just being such a constant, amazing supporter of the show. Thank you so much for all you do. You're constantly helping my confidence as a creator, and I thank you for that. If you like the show, you can follow me on social media for updates at scareyoutosleep or me personally at Shelby B. Novak. If you'd like more of me in a different context, you can find me every week on the Bloody Disgusting podcast. You can find that everywhere you get your podcasts, but it's also on the official Bloody Disgusting YouTube channel. Last week, Xena and I announced that we have a new sponsor, Torchbearer Sauces. And yes, if they sound familiar, it's because they have had a few of their sauces on 8 different seasons of Hot Ones, and we tried one of those sauces, and hilarity ensued. So go check that out. It is up on the official Bloody Disgusting YouTube channel. We love to hear from you. Thank you so much for those of you who have been supporting that. It's a fun little venture of ours. And if you'd like ad-free episodes of this show, please, I'm not trying to beg, but you can go subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/scareyoutosleep for ad-free episodes and bonus episodes. And bonus episodes will be returning. I also just added a collection on Patreon that is all 3 chapters of Araceli, and you can listen to those in succession in its own little collection, ad-free on Patreon as well. That had been something everyone had been asking for, so I finally did it. And I wanted to thank you all for just hanging in there and being so patient with me while I try to figure out the work balance of my new work schedule for my network, doing, as Xena and I call it, business lady things. The not fun behind the scenes stuff. Well, I'm not going to say not fun, but it's all the very administrative things. And also working on this show and also working on the Bloody Disgusting podcast. I'm just trying to, cast my net and stay afloat until, I find out some wealthy, distant relative of mine left me their riches and their castle somewhere. But until then, I will continue to be a workaholic, and thank you for bearing with me through all this, figuring that out, as well as all of these. It's like everyone in my life decided to have a big event this year, a celebratory event, and I appreciate it. I do feel loved that I've been included in these days of celebration, but I have had a lot of days of celebration out of town that I've attended. I don't even want to say needed to attend, because it's not like they're required, but I wanted to attend to be there for my loved ones. So I appreciate that, and I just want to say thank you so much. And things are evening out. I am figuring out how to live this life as just one person, taking care of myself, as we all are. We're all just hanging on to this rock floating through space, aren't we? So thank you so much. I won't keep you long. I didn't do any baking this week. I didn't. I didn't do any baking. I've been just sitting at my computer from morning to night. I actually gave myself a tailbone injury from sitting at my desk too much. Isn't that wild? What a sign of aging, isn't it? Yeah, so anyway, you don't need to hear about all that. Oh, big old truck driving by. What a cool guy. And it's raining outside, so all the sound outside is amplified. Okay, I'm extra rambly this week. Speaking of Patreon, don't even worry. If you've been missing the rambles, I will have a ramble for you soon. And because I have so much to talk about, so much to say, I have so many things to ramble about. So get ready for another episode of Ramble You to Sleep / Bore You to Sleep. And for the rest of you, thank you so much for listening. I will let you go. I hope you all have a fantastic, for those in America, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, have a happy Thanksgiving. And everybody else, just have a great week. Have an amazing week. And I will see you later. Go get some sleep. Sweet dreams.
This episode of Scare You to Sleep is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can be a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help you find options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
It's Black Friday at Paragold, the destination for luxury home. Save up to 30% on the largest ever selection of design's best brands, with beautiful quality pieces for every style and space. Plus, enjoy free design services and fast, free, full-service delivery on most items. Shop the sale in-store and online at Paragold.com, only from November 25th through December 2nd.
Hey, what's up, subscribers? Welcome back to the channel. So which variety of Dunkin' at-home coffee is your fave? Original blend, French vanilla, or hazelnut? Drop a comment.
What are you?
This is what I do when I'm home alone.
Drink Dunkin' Original Blend or pretend you're an influencer?
Both. Want a cup? Hey, let's do a taste test for the audience.
Okay, how's this? The rich, smooth taste of Dunkin' at home is unmatched.
Nice. You're a natural.
The home with Dunkin' is where you want to be.